in the studio. Now, this guest, she graced our screens years ago, and she played roles in movies like Single Six. You remember? Yeah. Somewhere in Africa, Pool Party, A Reason to Kill, Silent Writer, and many more. For the third time, she's contesting the parliamentary seat for the Tema constituency on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Abibra.
Thank you.
Good to be here, right?
Yeah, this is really exciting.
Yeah.
Oof.
Finally we're here. Finally, we're here. How have you been?
Well, I've been well. Very excited. This is by far the most active and exciting political year for me. Since 2015, I've been doing this, and this is the most exciting, but it's also the most grueling.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. And it's like a dream come true for me, really.
Wow.
I mean, as exhausting as it is, that's what you're hoping for, that you get the chance to push yourself, that you get the chance to reach above yourself. And that's the thing about creatives. You know, the thing about the creative person is that we thrive on becoming more than we would ordinarily be.
Exactly.
And I'm hoping that's something that we bring across every time that we engage something, and something that I'm hoping that others will see, so
awesome.
that it helps them to challenge us to expect more from us, and not to just engage us as accessories, but as major stakeholders and players.
Exactly.
In transforming, whatever task is before us.
We'll talk more about politics, but before that, let's talk about the creative side of you.
Yeah.
And even go a bit back and talk about, where you were born and all that. I hear you have a Ghanaian, Nigerian parentage and all that.
Well, that's very interesting. I was born in Nigeria, and I do have some Nigerian family, but it's because of marriage.
Okay.
I won't go into too many of the details, but I'm Ghanaian by blood. My father is Ghanaian, lived in Nigeria for 49 years.
Wow.
My mother is Ghanaian. She did live in Nigeria for maybe half that period. And I was born in Nigeria. And my Nigerian heritage, so to speak, is part of what I wear proudly.
Great.
Because it's added, a certain character and definition to, the person that I like to present and that I've become over time. And I think that it just makes me West African. I've experienced Togo and Benin as well.
Wow.
And unfortunately haven't been able to experience a lot more of West Africa. But that joint or dual nationality for the formative years of my life is what put the building blocks of Pan-Africanism in me.
Awesome.
Is what made me understand, hey, it wasn't just enough to be Ghanaian, but how was the Ghanaian in relation to his brothers and sisters? And that really, the Ghanaian wasn't standing alone. It was a nationality that shared a lot in common with the neighbors, and had a special place in leadership with our neighbors. So I'm very proud still to be called Nigerian. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Except politically, you have to be clear about who you are.
Who you are, yeah.
Except for that, culturally, I'm Nigerian, I'm Ghanaian, I'm West African.
Great.
Very proudly so.
You schooled in Nigeria?
Well, I did for the first 11 years of my life, yes. And I did work in Nigeria as an adult for some years as well. I think between 2002 and 2006 actively. And ever since, just because you have some business concerns, yes, that's still ongoing, yes.
And I hear you hosted a kids program in Nigeria.
Oh,
on
yes.
TV.
I was on TV from the age of 3. Incidentally, my show, Zuma Kids, was the first emission of NTA Abuja. Because what happens in Abuja with, how many states did we have then? Now I don't remember because they keep increasing the states. But then every state will have their TV, their NTA version.
Okay.
And so for NTA Abuja, the first emission was on a Thursday, 4 p.m. That was Zuma Kids. very, very comfortably presented by myself with a longer version of my name than I mean. It's a mouthful. Let me not bore you. But that was me, and that was me for many years until, we left Nigeria. But that was TV, and there were other things also. Another thing that I enjoyed as a little kid was hairdressing. So I like to say that was my first vocation. Apart from TV, I was a hairdresser. And at the age of 6, I'll be standing on a stool and rolling hair, and people used to come from all over the country to see this little kid that did hair. So for me, creativity in all its forms has been very instrumental in building the person I am, work ethic and all of it. And I can only say that I'm grateful for that.
When did acting come into the equation?
Well, I'm ashamed to say that I haven't pursued acting really as a career, because I didn't give to it what I think that it deserved.
Okay.
And I admire many actors that I look at today because of what they put into their craft. It just came for me by accident. It just came as some sort of consequence of being in a space and around something exciting. I remember that by the time I got into active acting in Ghana, I wasn't even really aware of what the space was. I didn't understand it. I thought it was just some drama on TV. I didn't even understand that Ghana had movies. I mean, apart from, the old ones, this Blele, that one with Blele, and I'm sure Kofi knows the one I'm talking about. Who say what? I don't know. They used to show it on from Gamma. I told you so.
I told you so. Okay.
I mean, apart from those ones, and then we watched the series like Ultimate Paradise. Beyond that point, I wasn't really aware of any kind of cinema that was produced in Ghana. Blele, Onko, Easy Monko, that kind of thing. Yeah, I remember that those movies, and it used to be really exciting. So beyond that phase, I wasn't really in tune with Ghanaian movies. I don't know if it's because the local language version, primarily, championed by Kumasi, was what was leading the space, and I wasn't really in that space, or just because I was displaced. But it was more Nigerians coming in and producing movies. And, because of my cross-cultural heritage and engagements, I kind of got into that space, as a friend and, a facilitator. And just by accident one day, somebody says, oh, this your haircut will really look good for us. So Frank Raja, producer extraordinaire for his time, he just said, look, this is not in my script, but could you just hold this gun that you've brought for some other scene and stand like this and do like this?
Oh, just like that.
So I ended up doing, 2 scenes or so. I did one scene. It was supposed to be one scene.
Which movie was that?
The Game.
The Game.
Yeah, and that was like. Yeah. And then for some reason, the next 2 days after, because we had a couple of cars on set that I was helping them with, and it says, oh, do like this again. Do like this again. And so that ended up being like 3 scenes in The Game. And, a few months later, I was back in Europe doing something else. I don't remember. And somebody called me and said, oh, you acted a Ghanaian movie. I said, oh, no, I haven't acted in a Ghanaian movie. It's somebody who looks like me. Because really, I didn't even realize that these things actually came on screen. And they said, no, it was an advert in a Ghanaian movie for a movie that is coming out soon, Frank Raja. I said, yes. And now this was exciting for me. And, and then I became known as the assassin. And then from there, everybody calls, oh, please come and pass through our movie. Come and pass through our movie. And I did that until it was like 32 movies after.
Wow.
And every time it just seemed like this wasn't something I was doing seriously. It was something I was making my extra time for. And,
did they pay you though?
Not really. I didn't really. I'm sure I earned like maybe about 500 CDs, maybe 3 times. It wasn't really, important to me. Most of the time it was me spending, but it was okay. However, I regret that the industry didn't provide enough excitement in terms of remuneration or real prospects for earning anything that could keep me interested, so I didn't give it my commitment. And I'm hoping that that's not the same disappointment that other people experience in the space.
That was
That's
your
one of the
personal
things-
experience, right?
That was my personal experience, and that's one of the things that pushes me on in some of the things that I conceive of for our sector. And I'm hoping we'll get the chance to talk about that later. Let me not bore you now.
How was working with Abdul Salam Mumini, like Venus Films?
Well, to be honest, I saw him as a very hardworking, forward-looking guy.
Yeah.
I know that but also, I mean, the dissatisfaction really from working with him didn't come from what I would say is his direct responsibility.
Yeah.
But just from the fact that the space is not satisfying, in terms of remuneration. It's not so advanced in terms of available facilities and technology.
Yeah.
So the space generally is frustrating. But as a producer in his time, working with resources that were available and basically being a pioneer of sorts, I doff my hat off to him. And I wish that there's a lot more accessible to people like him who are interested in the business, that there's a lot more accessible generally in the space to make for better working conditions and then better productions. But I'd like to say that he is one of the mainstays of that era of film production in this country. And I think that by now we owe them a lot more attention, a lot more support that is structured and that is policy, directed towards their work.
What do you think is that one thing that can change the fortunes of the film industry in Ghana?
That we're taking seriously. I don't think that the country, and if I say the country, it's cultural, it's political, it's all of it. I mean, political leaders, they're just looking at us as entertainment. We're fun. We're very interesting. I'll share an experience that KOD and I shared recently with you. And I'm hoping that they understand that the creative's personality is the one ingredient really that is sought after for problem solving. I mean, you go to business school and the biggest, tool that you can have is creativity. So I think that they should engage us more seriously.
Okay.
They should, like I said earlier, they should engage us with bigger expectations and with more on the table. The commercialization of their engagement with us is what I think is not producing as much as we could give to the country. We have the potential to be transformative for whatever change agenda there is. We create fads, we determine the way that people conceive of things and look at things and aspire to be. So I think that they need to not only allow us space for leadership, but they need to invite us into leadership and demand from us some of the answers. Now, here's what I think, that it's about direction. If this country understands that we make the best ambassadors and that we're the best expressions of what the country is out there, then I think that they will give us our due, and that due will demand that we take leadership for a lot of things, including the transformation of our sector. This is what will bring the transformation, because when people who have not experienced, the vagaries of the industry, look, I've known what it's been like to try and put together, a few CDs for Trotro to get to Accra for a show. Yeah, I'm not only being in that situation, but I've had guys that you look up to, they're bigger stars than you in that situation, and see how slowly you not only lose respect for them just as people, their dignity is lost in the process, but you don't expect anything from them, and you can't engage what is in them just because of that. So here's what I'm thinking, that the direction needs to be that this country says, look, this sector is important to us. This is the driver for our new age of economic development and the new face for Ghana. That we need to brand Ghana, and we need to be expressive of the things, so many things that we could name that are worthy of pride. If we start to do that and put us in charge of giving meaning.
Are we not doing that yet?
No, we're not. No, we're not. Like I said, we're always the afterthought. I'm a development communicator by profession. And my training demands that stakeholders are part of developing the plan in the first place. You don't call us in to come and try to manage or move around something that you have conceived. Our creativity is what's supposed to put the roadmap down. So this is the way that I think that leadership should look at our sector to make the huge difference. From that way of looking at things, you will start to address the little challenges under, because the problems are ours, the solutions are also ours.
Joe 99.7 FM, I have in the studio Abby Bright, an actress and NDC parliamentary candidate for Tema Central Constituency, here with me. I also have in the studio KOD, he's a creative entrepreneur. I have my brother, Chief Moomin. Hey, this man, Globetrotter. He's a playwright and a poet. And I have Obi Nate. Obi Nate is a broadcaster and also the president for UPSC. Kabi.
Ruled is here. Graduate school. The graduate school.
No, you see, the positions you are.
No, you have to.
There are plenty, so to stake now.
But you have to come.
You
have to come. Doreen is in class right now.
I know, right?
Hannah is in class too.
Don't worry. And I have also right here with us is Uncle Ken. Ken Adi is a broadcaster here at Joe 99.7 FM. In the meantime, we have a one-on-one conversation with Abby. Then we just zoom into the big conversation of the impact that creatives in politics or partisan politics have in on the industry. So we'll be having the conversation in a moment. 055 1111 and 997 is the WhatsApp number to reach us on. Now, let's get into politics, Abby. How did you get into it?
Again, by accident.
Hey.
Yeah, but I mean, unlike what I've done with acting, which I hope I will have opportunity to better, I have made commitments to it.
Okay.
I'd always worked in the communication sphere of, socialist aligned parties, just working on little communication bits and stuff, but I wasn't actively partisan. Of course, I've always been, ideological member of the NDC, even before I signed on to a party card, but I wasn't what you would call fanatic about it, because I'm a bit of an independent thinker. So if you notice, I've been quite media shy politically. And that's because I wanted to make sure that I was strong enough to be able to express myself and not deal with too much backlash. But back to politics. Sometime in 2015, early 2015, I was just getting ready to pack up my bags again and relocate, which I've done a few times? I mean, for school.
Okay.
And I got a letter from the CPP saying, because of this and this and this, we want you to come and stand for us. So I was like, oh, interesting.
Wow.
Well, I didn't know even then what it took to be a parliamentary candidate. So I didn't understand that part of it. I thought it's something that people sit at wherever the party is and they call people to do whatever. So I said, okay, I agreed to have a meeting with them. We had the meeting and I said, well, this is something I have to consult about.
Yeah.
But immediately it was in the media. Oh, A.B. Bright is going to be CPP's candidate for Tema Central, or A.B. Bright is CPP's candidate already. And then this caused a lot of panic at home, because my mother, I mean, she is the fanatical NDC, with her blood, with her heart, and and she said, you're going to be CPP. I said, no, I'm not going to. See, it's in the papers this morning already. And I said, no, but I didn't tell them that, you know how it is. But I understood how media and the rest works. And I knew how the pressure was going to go. But incidentally, to cut a long story short, the NDC did not have a candidate for Tema Central, because Tema Central was, I'm glad to say was, considered one of the hopeless seats as far as the NDC is concerned. So here's me, maybe a bit foolhardy, My mother said, if you're going to do politics, you have to stand for NDC. Even so, she didn't eat for 3 days.
Hey.
Until I had to go and figure out how to reach the top and say, well, I'm interested in representing. I was afraid more for my mother's life, in representing the NDC. So we engaged that conversation, and, long and short of it, within a few hours, we went through the process of just basically affirming me as the candidate for Tema Central. So that process did not involve any competition, as is the case for others. And so you immediately get into a crash course. Here, you're removing the hat of a social activist into, and wearing the hat of a partisan politician. But the good thing for me is that I was standing in a constituency that was not a stronghold of the NDC. It's a very, up until recently, traditional MPP seat. I had established my social, relationships and capital, enough that people, it wasn't as difficult as it would have been for any other NDC candidate. But very quickly, I tried to understand what the dynamics were. And it's been a long journey, but it's a journey that only somebody as maybe politically foolhardy and optimistic as myself would have stayed true to. And, year in, year out, you lose. But it's such a gargantuan leap that I'm also looking at every election year as a win, because I get the opportunity to explore my constituency in ways that I never did before, even as a resident, a proud Tema girl, true and true. You get invited into issues that ordinarily you wouldn't have the capacity or, or the license to step into, to raise the level of discourse politically.
Okay.
And to also grow myself into the person that I felt would be able to carry along everybody's aspirations, not just NDC. You can't even just be the NDC candidate in Tema Central. And I'm definitely not an MPP candidate. So here's who is this person that can stand and be a leader for everybody. And that's what I've been engaging since 2015. Very proudly, we've made leaps and bounds to the point where Tema Central is now a seat that is competitive for either party. And I'm hoping that the people of Tema Central see the opportunity, as I've seen, that they potentially will have an MP that is not sitting comfortably, so must perform. They will have an MP that cannot be controlled partisanly by her party, because they know that this didn't come on a silver platter. And I'm thinking that we, together have an opportunity to engage this. So this is my journey into politics thus far. It's been tough, because after the first time, now you have some opposition internally. I wouldn't even say now, from the beginning, because originally people don't believe in the seat. You don't have as much support as you think you'll have from your own party to win, because they don't believe that you will win, at least locally. And then after that, people suddenly say, oh, this is a place where somebody can even get noticed. I thought Tema Central didn't exist. Now somebody standing there called A.B. Bright. Suddenly, it appears that if they stand opposite you, they immediately assume, whatever it is that you've gathered over time. So I began to have also opposition internally. And externally, of course, you're challenging a comfort zone for some people. It's come with a lot of danger. And for me, as a very free-spirited person, I had to start to look at security personally. I had to look at the ways to diminish my creative exhibitionist persona and look more at, the fundamental issues for the constituency. I had incidents of loss of property and lives around me. And you have to be strong through all of this. You also have family life at stake. You're a woman at a certain age, you're thinking of a family, your education, and how career is progressing alongside politics, and marrying all of that and creating stability for yourself has also come at a price. So this is where I am, though.
When you speak to your constituents, what do they say their needs are?
Well, the primary one is the unemployment. Now, unemployment might sound like a buzzword for everybody in the country right now, but for Tema Central, it's specific and unique. Because if you know our history, we're the last constituency that should be complaining about unemployment. Because Tema, and Tema Central specifically, was built to house workers. So essentially, it didn't come that you weren't a worker or consequential dependent of a worker. We house the heavy industrial area. We house the light industrial area. The heavy industrial area, the industries and companies, manufacturers, all of those, they need workers for sure. The light industrial areas, fabricators, repairers, they essentially service the heavy industrial. So it's a whole ecosystem that was really solid. And don't forget our positioning, right where still in the harbor city. So this is work and leisure at its best. So I'm sure you remember Felisa and all of that from before. And I never thought that I will see a day where I would be wishing for a nightclub to thrive in Tema. That's not my original place of abode. But it speaks to how the economy has changed or negatively, because work and leisure has become difficult in Tema. Those that are employed in our industries are not residents. Residents don't have employment. We have increasingly an aging demographic, and the younger ones are having to find accommodation outside the constituency, because we have aging infrastructure also that can't support our lifestyles, the contemporary lifestyle of young people like you and I. So it's a huge problem. Our businesses are not thriving because the kind of demographics that can patronize and sustain a business are out of the constituency. People come into the constituency to work and go out to spend their money. I was talking to teachers yesterday. Even education is declined. We used to have the best schools in Tema. And this was upheld by corporate social responsibility from the industrial areas into the communities, because their kids went to school there. But today nobody's there, or I won't say nobody. We're still going to the schools there, but their kids are not going to school there. They're going to school in Accra and other areas. And so because of waking up early, getting on that horrible motorway, the commuting time and all of that, they move away from Tema as well. So it's just a breakdown of many things. So today you write to the companies, help us, and they're hesitant to. They don't see why. Also, over time, leadership has begun to focus on the exploding population of people with all their attendant difficulties, and have ignored the responsibility to represent the commercial parts of Tema Central, i.e. the industries and the businesses, so that we're not interested in the things that make them thrive. We're not interested in advocating for incentives and tax breaks and cuts and whatever will allow industries to thrive. So they're not doing well. So they don't feel any connection to who is not speaking for them, and they don't feel any connection to, the communities. We used to have the General Hospital be like the flagship hospital for a wide area, not only Tema, all the way to Pram Ningo, far, all the way to Agbe land. But today, they will have to take you through the motorway all the way to Accra, if 37 is better, or Kolebu. Tema General Hospital in the harbor city, where there are industries and likely accidents on a daily basis you have to expect if things are active. So these are some of the things that have made things break down. I am concerned that, for example, you have our flagship TVET, not the only, but our flagship TVET, Technical Vocational Educational Institute, Tema Tech. I mean, there's no relationship. So we're not running programs that respond to the kind of industries that we house. The industries don't even know what we do there. So there are no facilities to help with education that can guarantee jobs, in the industrial areas. So I'm concerned not only for the residents with unemployment, but for the industries as well that do not have indigenous employable youth. Because I think for them, it will be a lot cheaper. It will be a lot easier security-wise, logistically, to employ locally. So these are some of the challenges that we're looking at, but I don't see them as insurmountable. I see them as a relational issue, more importantly, and how we can advocate for Tema to be re-recognized as the pulse of the nation's economy. If we can make several examples from Tema Central, I think that the country will get the message.
All right, Abby Bright right here. She is the NDC parliamentary candidate for Tema Central Constituency, and she's here with us. If you have anything to tell her, 05511119997 is a WhatsApp number. Now, what do you make of creatives in politics? I hear some people say, oh, these people, when they get in there, they are going for their own parochial interests. They are not there for the industry. When you hear things like this about creatives in politics, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's subjective, but it's also coming from what people observe. But it's also very easy to discern. Unfortunately, the negatives are always more glaring than the positives, because I think that as human beings, we must be looking for things that are positive. And so the anomalies are the negatives, and they're worth, screaming about. There's been an over-commercialization of the creative space politically, where the kind of power that we have as creatives, as social leaders and, how would I say, thought directors has been commercialized way too much. We sit down and, like I said, we're the afterthought. And so people have their agenda. And then they call you to come and be the chorus. And there's usually a transactional, aspect to it. I think that creatives need to take up the responsibility to lead the discussions. Sit down and express yourselves, because we are in an interesting space. And the capacity we have to become more than what we are ordinarily, we have, I'm not even saying we should, we do have more capacity for empathy than the next person. Because as I sit here, you call me an actress. I think that vocation positions me to be better able to understand the market woman, even though I'm not one, than anybody else. Because I look at her, I might play a role that typifies her. And I become her. So this is the kind of power that, a creative has. When you meet a musician and they start to make melody and music, you notice that what they're singing is way bigger, is more spiritual than their speaking voice. They talk to you and you might not get anything out of it, but they sing and they move you. So we do have enormous power that we need to understand we're either equal or above a lot of the people that are occupying the political leadership space. So we need to understand that we can and we should. To whom much is given, much is expected. I don't think that we have done ourselves any favors and enough justice by year in, year out being the chorus for politicians. We need to take up the social activism space. For example, I know a few people who will speak about what is going on. I mean, all of you in this studio, for example, I'm the partisan one here, but I'm a politician.
Yeah.
I don't imagine that up to 10% of creatives are politicians. And we don't need them to be, but we need them to be social leaders, so that those of us in the political space also have other things to compare ourselves to. I don't follow too much, but I see someone like Lydia Forson.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of her because she's so balanced and she's so upfront about confronting issues. If and when you're the people's champion, they won't have cause to complain. But you and I both know from the songs that are composed election years to the kinds of programs and the utterances, they do not reflect the people's will. I'd like somebody to stand and say, Abi Bright, this and that, and not say, I'm NDC. If you are, then step in and let's know. Me, I'm NDC. Everybody knows that today. You see, so I don't think that anybody is talking to me as a creative like they will talk to you, who is supposedly unaligned. So I think that creatives generally, irrespective of partisan colors or affiliations, should be at the forefront of championing issues and expressing thoughts that move the nation forward, period.
I think
because we're more than qualified, and we do have that responsibility.
I think this dovetails into the bigger conversation. Why do you think most of the creatives are, let me say, quote unquote, scared to come out and say, I support this political party? Why do you think some of them are not willing to do that? Are they scared, or what's the problem?
Well, because for them, there's no gain than economic, really, in taking a stance. You know, you take a stance for party A, you might get victimized and not get jobs and all of that, and you have no other way of sustaining yourself. I mean, most of us are trying to survive, even ordinarily without the political persecution. Like I said, we're looking for 2 cities. The clothes we wear, we can't afford this and that and that and that. It's the love for the art that keeps people in this space already. And they're just trying to hold on. Most of the time, it's not worth it to engage that kind of persecution. But like I said, if you're not taking up the leadership, if you're not looking beyond what is given to you, you'll always be a victim. So I think essentially what I'm saying is for my people to stop being victims, to stop being receivers, to start to be leaders. Because to be honest with you, you could earn for being strong enough to state your opinion and your mind. I know what it has cost me to stand continually for the NDC since 2015. I've never been a government appointee. And I'm not saying that because maybe it's a position for corruption or to acquire ill-gotten gains. But I'm saying because at least you get a salary and you get allowances that justify your work. I've never been a government contractor, which is also another way of earning from the government. I've just been an NDC candidate on the ticket of the NDC, all this time in opposition. It's marginalized me. It's made me beyond the scope of people even calling me to come. Maybe I would have earned a penny or two now from acting. But unfortunately, that is so it's the victimization. But I also think that it has a lot to do with your person. If you're not strong enough ordinarily to make your way in life, if you're so dependent that your 2 cedis that you earn is dependent on you shutting up and having no opinions or being a chorus for somebody, that is what the problem is. And so I'm looking for a time when, as creatives, we earn independently enough that we are human beings, that we're at least equal to every other Ghanaian. You know, so that we're not afraid to be who we are or have our own opinions.
Great. Abi Bright is here with us today, our special guest, and I have in the studio Chief Momin KOD Obi Nate Anglican. Let me go to Chief. Chief, if you've been listening to our sister Abi speak, so her acting side and the political side, what do you have to say to her? Please don't break my microphone.
I should leave it up and talk.
Okay, let it go down small. Okay, all right. Yes.
As we say in Ghana. Good afternoon to all our cherished listeners. And if I may be a bit presumptuous, since I haven't been in the studio for a couple of weeks, in fact, for a very long time.
Moving around.
Yes. Let me also say good afternoon to all my fans. Well, it's good to be in the studio. It's good to be listening to Abi Bright.
Yeah.
And recount her political journey and make some very salient points. What was your question again? My general, great. I mean, I think that she's touched on a number of important, factors, and as creatives, really, in a democracy, everyone has the right to express themselves however you feel you should. And you have the right not to express yourself, actually. It's part of your right, because no one is expected, to express themselves when they don't want to. I think that we live in a society where we have to understand the kind of politics that we do. Our politics is maturing, it's not yet matured. And so people take politics too much to heart, even though it should be a contest of ideas.
Yeah.
A contest of policies and viewpoints about how society moves. It becomes a bit more acrimonious in our society, because for some people it's a do and die affair. For some people politics is their lifeblood. So because of that acrimony in politics, it can sometimes be a very dirty game to play, especially if you want to put yourself out there. So if you are putting yourself out there, then you must be very well aligned with a political party so that you fall under their umbrella, no pun intended, or on top of the elephant to equalize.
Being on the
in such a way that
side.
There is a protection. Right, so if you come out openly and you identify yourself as an NDC and you're an activist, and the opposition is coming after you, or the opposing party is coming after you, vice versa, if you're MPP, you can expect the army of the NDC to defend you, right? But if you are not aligned with any other political party and you kind of like come out there and criticize the government in power, because usually it's about the government in power that receives the most criticism, then you're more or less like an orphan. So it takes a certain level of courage, to be able to still be within that space where you're not necessarily aligned, to any political party, and still express your views, quite powerfully. Like Ibi mentioned, someone like Lydia Forson, But it's not everyone also who is an activist, because remember that it takes a particular kind of spirit and quality to be an activist, to want to be heard on various issues and to be passionate about pushing certain causes. In our part of the world, most creative, apart from the successful ones, most creatives are just trying to put food on the table. And so when you are consumed with that, everyday, kind of work to try and put food on the table, sometimes you often do not care about the bigger issues, although the bigger issues, as Dr. Asante has told us, invariably affects your living conditions. So many people are just trying to get into the studio to get the next song out there, to get the next movie, to get a role here, a role there. So they are not really consumed about being the voice of the people, because they themselves are still trying to find their voices. But I think that our democracy is maturing and people are becoming a bit more confident, in expressing their views and taking a stand, like my brother KOD, who has taken a stand, in this election period. And it should be fine. If for anything at all, we see the world's biggest democracy, one of the major things you see when you see all the US presidential candidates going from state to state is to have celebrities come out and kind of like speak to them. Because celebrities who are creatives, especially whether you're a musician or an actor, you wield a certain level of social influence and your voice is powerful and goes kind of a long way, so that if a celebrity endorses a politician, it gives the person a bit more momentum, and you would hope that momentum generally would translate into votes, all things being equal. I think that we will begin to see more of that, as our democracy matures, but I think that it is people's right to choose to speak or not to speak.
Thank you, Chief Moomin. Uncle Ken, is here. Uncle Ken is a broadcaster here at Joy FM. Let's pick Uncle Ken's thoughts on the interview we just had with Abby Wright. Uncle.
Yeah, before I even give you my thoughts, let me say hi to some of the people I haven't seen in ages right here in the studio. My own son, Chief Moomin. And I like to eulogize Chief for his, efforts and keeping the name of Ghana up high in the skies all over the place.
Thank you.
Chief, you've been wonderful.
Thank you,
He's
Uncle
been
Ken.
absolutely wonderful, and I am so proud of him.
Thank you.
One of my
More to come.
Yeah. One of the people who keep me coming to this show.
Chief Moomin.
Yeah, Chief Moomin. Okay. I also like to say I am so happy to see Abby.
Yeah.
The last time I saw Abby was how many years ago? I can't even remember. We had a show, a Showbiz A to Z show, somewhere. I forget the name of the venue. Kofi.
Was it a round table?
No, from Alliance Française, as you try to get to the traffic lights, there was a place on the left hand, just before, if you were from Alliance, going into the main airport, towards Opebia, exactly. There was a place, a venue on the left hand, That was an open garden.
Open garden.
Yes. Yeah, it was a food bazaar that day, Abby. And we had a live transmission of this. Yeah, we had a live transmission of this program from
Okay.
there. Yeah, many years ago.
Wow.
That was the first time I actually met Abby. But a couple of weeks ago, when I told you my niece got married,
Yes.
I had to go to Tema. And the wedding ceremony took place at the Adonai International Ministries in Community 12, you know. And along that area, I saw Abby's posters. The small boards, yes. I said, yes, I saw the small boards, you're right. So I said, hey, this lady, she's still around, you know. So it's so good to see her this evening right here in the studio. And like, she's been out there. A lot of Gen Zs don't even know she was an actress before getting into politics. You know, we got to know her from acting before she actually ventured into politics, you know. And she's the sort of person I honestly don't understand why she's in politics in this country, Ghana. Because you see, politics in this country is so vicious, and you need to be somebody who is always in the faces of people, you know, pushing and being heard, you know, for people to accept you as a politician. But she's not that type. She's, like she said herself, you know, issue-based politician. She
Exactly.
looks at issues
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And it's very difficult in our part of the world for such politicians to make inroads into the streets of politics. But I'm happy she's persevered because, and she said something. She said that she's been there for so long, and before she got there, nobody wanted to get there from her party because they felt the seat was, you know, made for another party, kind of. But she's persevered all these years, and I was so surprised when I saw her little boards, and they were so little compared to others who had huge billboards and things like that. But because I have gotten to know her through what she's been doing, I know her worth. But then the question remains, will the outsider know the worth of the lady who was on that little board? That is our issue in this country when it comes to politics in particular. If she was in intelligentsia and it was on radio having discussions every day, people should be on top of mind for a lot of people. But because she doesn't get herself into these insult-ridden, you know, kind of politics, it's difficult for her. But Kwame, the issue is, I don't see why anybody will have a problem with somebody who declares their stance in politics. A lot of us, those people who complain about people coming out in the open, creatives coming out in the open to declare their stance, a lot of us people are cowards because inwardly we all have a stand. Okay? But we are just not bold enough to come out for various reasons. Some of the reasons might be not wanting me. I don't even go on social media because I have always said I do not want anybody to insult me with bad grammar on social media. And that is my key reason for not going on social media. Because that will hurt me the most. You can insult me if you speak good English. But if you insult me with bad grammar, that's double jeopardy. And I don't want that, Kofi. So I don't play on those streets. I see Kofi's posts every single day.
Yeah.
I see your posts every single day because they are my friends on social
But you
media.
never comment. You just
I
read
don't
and pass.
comment. I just observe. Because Kofi will put a post out there.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Trigger an
It
avalanche.
will trigger.
I'm just a conversation starter.
Yes. Kofi's post will trigger conversations where immediately they see the thing, it becomes a partisan issue. Even if Kofi did not mean his post to be partisan. It becomes a partisan issue. And Kofi this and Kofi that, and you are a hypocrite, and you know, all that. It becomes so stressful, Ebi. And me at my age, I can't take that stress. I can't take that stress. That is why I would not participate over there.
Yeah.
If you look at institutions like GPRTU, the Ghana Medical Association, the teachers' unions, and stuff like that,
Yeah.
when they have an issue that they want government to tackle, they are united in that. Okay? With us, because Kofi has expressed his love for the NDC, or Ebi is an NDC parliamentarian
Yeah.
candidate.
Candidates. Yeah.
If Ebi raises an issue which is beneficial to all of us as an industry, it becomes a partisan conversation because it is Ebi from the NDC who has raised it. Hey, no. Our own people will disagree and fight it. The conversations that we have on radio and TV with the creatives are all about what my party did and what your party did not do. It is not about a common front focus on an issue that we want government to tackle. Because my government is in power, if an NDC person raises an issue, no, we can't take it on because it would go against us. That is the problem with us. But with the other unions, they have, if it is a matter of money they need, they will go at it.
Yeah.
All guns blazing. You know, but we don't do that. We don't do that. Yet we have the best outlet to voice our grievances. We are always on radio, Kofi.
Yeah.
We are always on TV. The creatives. Always on radio, always on TV. That we can use to channel. But when we come on those mediums, what do we do? What do we do? We fight each other. And these people, since they came, they promised this, they've not been able to achieve it. And when we come, we will do this, we will do. It is not about the issue and how to fight it. So, Kwame, these conversations, we've had them for years.
So many years.
So many years. And we are still having them. So ask yourself why.
We need to change our
I'm done.
attitudes and
Yeah.
minds. Okay, let me go to Obi Nate. Obi Nate is somebody we know has declared his support for the MPP. At a point in time, he was even contesting, eyeing a parliamentary seat, the primaries at the MPP, Adenta. Yes, and he's here with us. Obi,
Kwame.
have you encountered any challenges declaring your support for the MPP?
But who would? Everybody. Kofi is a victim now.
Kofi's own, I read every day.
Yeah, I think, I don't know how come. Your post always has a way of coming to my
The day
feed.
of declaration,
Yeah.
I went under your post.
You saw, yeah, exactly. Kwame,
Parliamentary candidate.
I think that, like Uncle Ken said, and for all of us and to all those who are listening to us, let me say good afternoon.
Yeah.
First of all, the most important thing for creatives is that we are all people of Ghana. We are Ghanaians first.
Yeah. Yeah.
We uphold the values of our country, and we believe that our country is, this is where God has put us, has given to us, and we have to protect, develop, and uphold it first of all. And so the nationalistic agenda should be there before anybody wants to engage in any partisan politics or want to declare. The point at which you declare is where we've not gotten to as a people, to accept that EB, right? AB is NDC, I'm MPP. We're going to talk about ideas. We're going to discuss issues. So you might have a different understanding to how you want things to be done.
Yeah.
I have a different understanding. I think this policy is good. You think it's not good. I think it should be shaped well. At the end of the day, it should be something that is going to benefit everybody. That should be the discussion. We've not been able to understand the democracy well. If this is where we are, to be able to now focus on the issues. But if I say I'm MPP, then in the next moment I'm receiving text messages. I'm disappointed in you. No, I'm not going to. You are not. No, let's just dissociate. I don't think I have to be within your space. No, you are gone. Like I get that a lot. You are gone. I'm supposed to be NDC. Like no, it's not. That is not the purpose. If I have a drive to be a servant of my country, it should go beyond the colours. It should be about the interest of the nation. Like I bring a clear example in my area, East Legon Hills, like Nana Krum. I don't know if anybody. Nana Krum is Legon Hills. So there's this new bridge that has been constructed, and my time when I was on Vision 1 FM, every morning, I'll hit and say that bridge must be constructed.
To be done. Yeah.
Every morning. So it got me popular within that space. Hey, this is the gentleman who has been beyond the political colours. Today, the bridge has been constructed. The roads have been constructed. Our NDC people not driving on it. Our MP people not driving on it. So we have to grow beyond attacking the people for probably declaring Kofi's NDC. I think I shared a post. He came to write something, and we did not insult ourselves. We would not insult ourselves because it goes beyond that. No.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, so you see,
for asking me.
KOD. We will hear from him. Don't worry. We will hear from him.
Well,
we will hear from him.
With his
Don't worry.
fugu atamale. With his fugu atamale at the high seat, chief.
He only endorsed a political party.
Exactly.
We're here to know whether he's a member and a card-bearing member of the NDC later on. So you continue.
So we have a lot of work. So Kwame, like I'm saying, the most important thing is that people should understand that politics is a discussion of ideas where we need to discuss. At the end of the day, it inures to the benefit of the people. Whatever initiative that comes, whatever policy that comes out should be beneficial to everybody. It should be something that everybody is benefiting from. I sit here and I'm like, okay, I don't have a cousin or a younger brother who probably is enjoying free SHS. But free SHS is something that has been given to everybody across the country. That should be the conversation. So if we're meeting and we're talking, the conversation should be what should be done next. How do we improve it? Exactly. So this should be the conversation that we're supposed
to. How do we get creatives, ideas, and
to make it better
within the SHS conversation?
So let me ask you. You are a creative.
Yes.
Since you've been part of the MPP, how have you contributed to the ideas being channeled in the direction of creatives to them?
So Kwame, when you join any political party, or if you're a card-bearing member, you don't just jump into committees, or you're not just called in.
Exactly.
You have to come from the grassroots. And for myself, I'm coming from as a polling station chairman, having contested. I'm now part of the campaign team in the Adenta constituency, and so if you identified and you're called, or maybe there's a conversation that you are invited to.
Okay.
That is where you can share,
right.
Or probably you know somebody you can channel your conversation to say, I think that this thing can be done this way. This is how you are heard. More so, the political parties also like people who come out and then speak on the issue. So once you're speaking on the issue and you're giving very, very salient points about it, I'm sure the communication team should be able to identify and then call you in, and then you share your ideas. You don't just walk into any office to go and share any of these ideas.
Perhaps the fridge was constructed creatively.
Yeah, so like I'm saying, all these things come up there. For myself, I think I've received some calls
Okay.
yet to be heard.
From the party leadership.
Yes. Like I'm saying, it has to be a progressive action from you, the individual.
Okay.
Making sure that you're pushing the policy. If let's say we're talking about the Creative Acts bill.
Yeah.
What they're doing, what is
It's
happening
an act now.
It's an act.
Yes, it's an act now.
Yes,
Yeah.
the act. So what they're doing, what would you contribute to it? What do you think can be done about it? What do you think should be these things when you open up these conversations and they listen to what you're saying and they think that okay, these ideas that you're bringing in are very fantastic ideas. Why not? You'll be invited to the team.
That creative arts act you're talking about. The conversation should be why isn't it being operationalized?
Okay. So I think a few weeks
the
ago.
conversation. Hello,
Yeah.
Kofi.
So
Basically.
Because it's not being operationalized.
So-
it's being passed
Yeah.
as an act.
Exactly. A few weeks ago, there was a stakeholder engagement, the one that would give it assent to be taken to Parliament for
Yeah.
final.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think after that, I'm yet to know whether it's gotten to Parliament yet.
What? That was on
The
an
LI.
LIO.
The LI I'm talking
Yes,
about.
but the act itself has
Yes.
been passed.
So you ask the question, why hasn't
Why
been
isn't it
operationalized?
being operationalized?
If you ask them,
That
they'll
is the
if you
question.
ask them, I think we spoke about this some time ago. When you ask them, they tell you, oh, because the LI isn't in place
Oh.
as of now.
Please. Please. It is not all acts that actually need an LI to be operational. The LI comes in
Okay.
when there are certain sections of the act that need to be looked at
Yeah.
in its own context.
Yeah.
That's when you need a legislative instrument to operationalize that.
Yeah.
But a board should have been constituted by now. You don't need an LI to constitute a board.
The board for the Creative Art
Yes.
Agency. Yes.
Yes. Hello? Kofi, am I wrong? A board should have been constituted by now for that
Okay.
to be operational. But it
Okay.
hasn't.
All right. Joy 99.7 FM, the superstation. We're still here talking about the impact that creatives in politics have on the society. And we have in the studio Uncle Ken. We have Abby Bright, who is a parliamentary candidate, NDC's parliamentary candidate for Tema Central Constituency. Also in the studio, Chief Mumin. Yeah, Chief Mumin is also right here with us. And then we have Kofi Ochridako, a creative entrepreneur, Obi Nate as well. Now, joining us, we have the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Yeah, he's joined us right here in the studio, and we'll be having a very big conversation as I spoke to you about earlier on. But Obi was on the platform talking, yes, talking about your contribution to the party in terms of creative ideas and all that. Yeah.
So to wrap it up, the minister is here.
Perhaps he might notice your submission.
Yeah. So Kwame, like I'm saying, you need to always come up with very brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
And once these ideas are ideas that are going to add up and make the policy or the initiative a great one, I think you'll be called.
Yeah.
Often you don't also have to be somebody who always want to talk.
Yeah.
Because you're an MPP, so even if the issue is not an issue that you have to contribute, you want to be seen. So, and before you realize you've said something that is not right, I think it's very important that anytime you want to speak, you need to know what you're going to talk about. Come and talk about it well, and catch the eye of these of the big people.
Okay, Joy 99.7 FM, 0551111997 is the WhatsApp line, and we're having a conversation. How do creatives in partisan politics impact society? That is the big conversation. Earlier on, we had a one-on-one interview with Abby Bright, who used to be an actress. Now, you still are. Oh, so should they bring the movie roles? I'm on for Rose and Imrana.
If they're not going to give me any, I will create my own. Because we need more entrepreneurs in this space. Don't we?
Yes.
Our
Okay.
deputy minister is here. So
Exactly.
he'll tell you that we're going to be pushing a lot of that. If he's not doing it within the next few months, we will very soon.
And I hope we have a lot of questions for the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okrekumante. But before I even get to KOD, let me welcome Deputy Minister, even before we continue with the conversation. Honorable
Yes, sir.
Akwaba,
Yeah.
good to have you in the studio today,
Medasi.
Ms. Medase. And I hope the ministry is doing well.
Yes. It's obvious we are growing the numbers for tourism. And so It's in the books. You can always tell. It's very easy to quantify the results for tourism as against the creative industry. And so with tourism, I mean, the history of Ghana, President Akufo-Addo tops all. And you all know the forthcoming months, you will see in December, almost everybody is coming to Ghana. And it's because something was done right.
Okay.
So even more than Nkrumah.
Okay. I beg you. Honorable, so this will be your preamble. I'll come back to you. Let me take KOD's opinion on this whole big topic. KOD, so a few weeks ago, we saw you on a platform, NDC platform, endorsing NDC and the presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama. Why did you do that?
Before I speak to that, I think it's very essential for me to say kudos to my sister Abby Bright. And the people in Tema Central have actually lost out, if you ask me. Listening to her presentation, she's someone who's really on top of what the people need, what the youngsters in that constituency need. And I hope that come the 7th of December, they actually give her the nod that she's been, looking for all these years. She's obviously going to make an impact on the lives of those people in that constituency. I am 46 years.
Okay.
I've been in this country since the inception of the, Fourth Republic. Prior to the Fourth Republic, I have a certain history. I grew up in a space where my father was a director of prisons. My mother was a founding member of the 31st December Women's Movement.
Okay.
My uncle's P.V. Obeying. I sat in conversations and heard elderly people talk about this country. My father's one of those who retired, and at the time that he was retiring, we were thinking about moving to whatever he's built. We didn't think about him acquiring the government property that was meant for whoever was taking over from him. You grow up over time and experience, different governments, and you get to that point where you realize that as a citizen of this country, you have a certain contribution. I've seen it all in a creative space. I mean, at age 16, I was already a copywriter. By 18, I was working full-time on radio like you do now. I mean, what's next? I've experienced President Rawlings from the Revolution days, experienced President Kufuor, experienced Nana Akufo-Addo, who I strongly believed was going to be one of the greatest apart from Kwame Nkrumah, in my opinion. And it's one of the reasons I supported him in 2008 with a big platform that we launched to outdoor his political career in 2008, Believe in Ghana. Then we had Professor Mills, an awesome personality who had so much love for this country, unquestioned by any Ghanaian citizen. President Mahama came. Unfortunately for him, he had a very turbulent time, especially with Doomsaw, which he resolved before leaving office. So finally, when Nana Akufo-Addo had the opportunity to, take the reins of this country, I thought, wow, okay, even if you're NDC and you didn't support Nana Akufo-Addo, this is someone who's been very active in that space since 1973, fighting the military governments, very passionate about the Ghana agenda, what have you. So, hey, this is the time, let's give him that opportunity. And if you no, I'm not done. Okay. And if you ask me, for me as a person, it's become one of the most turbulent times in our country. The time when he said that we're not supposed to be spectators. We're supposed to be very active in advancing the country Ghana, and I think that we've not done so well under his watch. So at a point, as a citizen of this country, I had to get to that realization that, hey, Charlie, you're growing, man. The founding fathers of this continent, some of them were younger than you, and they played pivotal roles in whatever Africa's become. We could have been better as a continent. That really, is the reason I decided that, hey, I think the NDC is really home to me. Because for me, my support for Nana Akufo-Addo was him as a person. And the fact that I thought he could make a huge impact and difference in this country, not the NPP.
Let me go
Okay.
to a question that was asked earlier on, whether you just endorsed the NDC or you are an NDC member.
Okay, so it was more of an endorsement. But if you saw the fugu that I was wearing, if you saw the fugu that I was wearing, I mean, listen, man, that's why I gave that preamble and my track record and background with the party. I'm supposed to be NDC. I worked at Radio Gold.
Yeah.
For God's sakes. I mean, no one was hired on political basis for getting a job at Radio Gold. That never happened.
Okay.
But somehow, you get to understand how things work in that space. And yeah.
Beyond endorsement,
Yes.
are you looking to maybe occupy any position?
No, I'm
in
not
the
looking
future?
at that at all. For me,
Are you
I
eyeing
just
any seat?
for me, essentially,
Any
I
position?
want this government going and John Mahama reinstated as the president of the Republic of Ghana.
Are you
That's it.
looking forward to getting into politics, as in mainstream politics?
It's not an area I've critically thought of, but I mean, we've always served for what we do in the creative space. We're public servants as well. So if I have to serve in that space, why not?
Were you not scared when you were coming out to declare your support for the
scared, no
NDC?
way.
Because I saw the comment on social media, people coming at you and all that.
No. Those who came at me were friends of mine who are on the other side now, who believe that, Chaliba, we saw you as one of us, and for you to be seen on that platform is more of a, what's the word? Yeah, but they've betrayed the whole nation. So, for me, that's how I see it. It's not betrayal. For me, it's going back home. That's home.
Yeah.
People who give you reverence, people who respect you, people who respect the whole nation as well. A party that respects the whole nation. For me, that's my opinion. So I've decided to go back home.
How impactful do you think creatives are in partisan politics?
Let's do a flashback again. Let's look at Ghana's independence from 1957 and the kind of people who came here. We had the Louis Armstrongs, we had the Muhammad Ali's, we had the Malcolm X, we had Reverend, what's his name? Franklin came much later in the 70s. Martin Luther King, much later, Jesse Jackson, all these guys. And then in the 80s, we had the Black Panthers, a group like Public Enemy, that's from the Black Panthers. In the 70s, we had the Black Panthers. These have been very, personalities and groups that have been very active in the political space to see the emancipation of black people, especially in the United States. So there's nothing new under the sun. Having creative support something that has an impact on the population. You understand? So for us as a people, we cannot, think that creatives should not have a space in the governance of this country. No way. I mean, creatives are pivotal. And like Uncle Ken said, there are times when we're almost there, we're inching in towards going to the polls, and that's when they want to get people involved to endorse political candidates. Let me tell you, I was not invited by anyone to go endorse President Mahama. I showed up. In the past, people have been paid to do this. I did not get paid a dime. No. And if it's something I have to do 1 billion times, I'll do it without thinking twice. Because I believe strongly that for me, the lowest point in his government was when we had Dumso, which he resolved before leaving office. So for where we are now, why don't you just bring the man back to continue where he started?
Okay. Obi Nate is a broadcaster, also president of UPSC Krasag, and an MPP member. Am I right to say that?
Yeah, you are right.
Okay. So some people have said that when some of our creatives get into government, into leadership positions, they don't see how they are performing. And so I was on a platform, some conversation, debates going on, people saying it's not even necessary for us to even push them or encourage them to get into politics. Do you think such arguments are sound?
I don't think so. I don't agree. But I think it will obviously be someone's opinion. Like I said earlier on, when you see a creative in politics, it's not as though the creative is there for that specific purpose. So I'm a creative person. I belong to the industry. I need to go through a certain route through the political channels or pipeline to get to where I want to get to. Now, when I get to that place, because of the interest and the space that I've occupied before, or the creative environment, or the participation that I have engaged in that creative industry, like the gospel music. If I let's just say I become an MP, every individual, or maybe individuals within my constituency, who are within that space, or within that gospel space, or music space, there will be a need, or I'll be uncomfortable to sit down and watch talents within that constituency go rotten. You get the point? I would now have to find a very enabling environment to support these talents within it. It's not necessarily I have to come out of my constituency and come and look for a bigger artist to support. No, it doesn't. I don't know whether that, but it doesn't happen like that in politics. As a politician, when you're coming up through that constituency level, or you're coming up from that level, your focus is that your constituents. That is a major focus. You're supposed to develop your immediate environment. So if I'm a creative, it means that the creatives within, let's say, Adenta constituency, there must be a lot of focus. What am I supposed to do? Let's say studios. Let's say if I can support people, I can get people. They go to studios, they go and do their songs. I need to focus on these talents within the constituency. Now, once you're doing that, you are also adding up to it. If the general creative environment, say, if they push us there, we will not come and support them. It will be far from the conversation. It's not done like that. Anybody within politics, if deputy minister, he has a constituency. Once he gets there, maybe he's appointed as maybe let's say the creative minister or something. There he's in charge of the entirety, or maybe all the people within the creative space. But for those of us who maybe you go through the pipe and you become maybe an MP, or you don't have maybe a position or something, you need to now help people within that space. You focus within your constituency. You have to develop where you are first. Once you're developing the talents within your constituency, then it means that you are amassing some capacity that if you are appointed a minister to oversee these areas, you'll be able to do better. You can't start and go up there. You need to start from the grassroots.
Bottom up approach.
Exactly. That's how it's done. You don't just come up and then say you want to solve the problem of the creative industry. It's not done that way.
Okay, Joe 99.7 FM 05511119997 is our WhatsApp line. We have Obi Nate, Chief Mumen is here, KOD, Uncle Ken, Abby Bright, and Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okreku Manti. Now let me go to Minister and ask him. He's part of us. He's one of us, and he was part of us. Did so much for the industry, from music to movies to broadcasting to almost everything. Fought so well for structures to be put in place for the industry. Now he's Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. And back on the background of the question about how necessary it is for us to get more people who are from the creative industry into governance. Let me ask him that question. Honorable, how important is it for us as a people to get more people like you in governance?
Okay, thank you. It is important. A few weeks ago, I think I saw this on TV. Let me see if I can find it for you. And I sent this to Andidosti and then Akwesi Abuaje.
Okay.
It was on CNN. Tagged Sounds of the Campaign Trail. How music has helped shape presidential campaigns over the years.
Okay.
And I saw the back of someone that looks like Donald Trump. So, yes. So, I'm sure CNN was discussing how music had influenced their campaigns, political campaigns over the years. It tells you that. So, I sent this to Anidosti because I often hear negative when we have to talk about our music or our arts and politics. But the other part of the world, they are talking about the influence, the impact. And I wanted Anidosti and people like you to change the narrative. Because it is important to use music positively for politics. Instead of always saying, oh, I hear that often. But why can't we turn it upside down and change the narrative? And that's why I sent this to Andy. It is a preamble to what's my answer that I'm going to give to your question. Years ago, I did my first degree somewhere in 2010. I used to come to the studio from school. I don't know if Uncle can remember. As a student.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember at the time, Halifax interviewed me, and I told him that I'm going to school because I'll need knowledge to be able to sit around the table with the big men in future. I didn't know I was going to be a deputy minister. Truth be told, I didn't know. Because no one
didn't have any ambitions?
No.
Okay.
No. But I knew that there will be a day that you have to answer questions. And you have to make presentations. I needed a degree of knowledge to be able to show what you've got. And the perception that the people in this industry are often not educated was going to play against me if I got there in future. I heard Uncle Ken's statement that even if you diss him, he doesn't want you to do it with bad grammar. So, so I did my first degree around 2010, Central University, 2010, 2014, continued with my master's and all. And so I told the rest of the industry to come on board. I went to appeal to ask him to come to school. Kwabna, I asked him to come to school. And I still tell people to go back to school because we need the knowledge to be able to help the industry. We need more on board because I often hear people say that, oh, it's a specialized area, so you need special people. I disagree to some extent because I'm sure if you go into education, they also tell you it's a specialized area. If you go into IT, they will tell you it's a specialized area. And so this specialized area concept that we've said over the years, I do not think that we should. Almost every area is specialized. If you don't know, you don't know. You need to also go and study to know. So that when we have more, the accounts have a saying that the broom, if it is single, it is easy to break. But if it is more, it is difficult to break. So that we can share ideas. I've just seen AB here.
Yeah.
I know AB2 has been through the wilderness over the years. My sister, Honorable Jifa Gomashi.
Yeah.
I went to Parliament. Let me share this with you to defend the ministry's budget. And when she entered, she said, "I want to sit by Mark." She sat by me and said that I've been there before. This budget here is Mufa being count. And people were surprised that is that an NDC person? So I said, no. It is the industry we are fighting for.
Okay.
So she is NDC. But because we understood something that maybe the rest of them wouldn't understand.
Wow.
NDC MPP matched on the day. And we got some good results. And so we need more people to come on board. This perception that, oh, when you go into politics, you are seen in a particular light and you lose revenues and I never saw that. I became a politician through President Akufo-Addo as a candidate. Note, before A+ and I started this agenda for President Akufo-Addo or candidate Akufo-Addo, creative people were scared to show their faces for politics. Jiwelaka was somehow a peripheral politician. He doesn't want to show his face. He only does music. He does business. And you hear a lot of people, oh, I'm only a businessman who did something for a political party. I don't want to be a partisan and all of that. So A+ 208 came to me and said, "Charlie, the old man says this." So at the time we wasn't this old, but big boy. So old man says this. So I said, yeah, why not? I'm interested. So we started. But today, look at the number of people who are showing their faces. And we want to reinforce that. Come on board. Check this out. Almost every ministry, you will find either the deputy minister or the main minister being someone who had come from that particular industry. Our brother, Honorable George Anda, deputy communications. What was his background? MTN. Myself. And note, her boss, Honorable Esla Usu herself, also came from a telecommunication background. What's the name of that company? Monkai. Oh. No, something tell. But make sure you don't say Amstel. Westel, that's the name. Westel. Yes, Westel. So if in future all of you in this room decide that, oh, we don't want to do politics, if the leaders had to, or must choose somebody from the industry, how are we going to get one? So it's important we populate the space with some people, but who are well equipped. Because in the other sectors, the people who come there, you see that they are equipped. We don't want people just for the fact that you're a creative person, they must make you a minister or deputy minister, and you go there and troca. So it is important we get more on board.
But some people are scared because they think it might affect their businesses and all that.
You can't eat your cake and have it. In this world, it is opportunity cost. You choose Christ or you choose the other one. Yes. I might be too strong.
Not only the other one, or others.
Or the other ones.
You know, so I decided that I wanted to go with President Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
From 2008. We went, we lost. There's a particular constituency called Tyne. I'll never forget that. Tyne constituency. Second round, we all know what happened. 2012, I didn't say because he didn't win, I'm not for him again. We still stood by him, President Akufo-Addo. We lost again. He said, it's not over until it's over. 2016, we went. We won. I didn't get a position as a deputy minister, just like my sister said, Ibi said. I still believed in the Akufo-Addo agenda, 2020. That's where I find myself. And so for me, I do not see anything wrong. If you go and you Kwame became a bigger artist after MPP was role.
Yeah.
Yes. Kwame became a bigger artist after endorsing candidate Akufo-Addo. Into wow issues. Let's not often go and put it on the political parties. If you manage yourself well, you position yourself well as a brand. I spoke with some companies that I used to work with. That, you guys, because now I am in front of politics, you don't want to give. So, no. When you are done with politics, we still do business.
Okay.
It's a very big brand in this country. And they say, no, we'll not look at any politics. We'll still work with you. Just position yourself well, such that people will still want to work with your brand. And I'm sure you can still make money. Honorable,
permit us to use you as a case study because you are a creative in government right now. We hear a lot of people say, please educate us. What have you contributed as a creative in government?
Okay. I remember when I went to vote for Dr. Baumia, I was interviewed. Was it Joy News? And they said, do you believe in Dr. Baumia? I said, yes. Said, but he's supposed to do this, the economy. And I remember I used the word driver's mate for him even before he said Mufasti Anemame.
Okay.
Because I have tasted being a deputy minister. I know how it feels to be vice or a deputy minister.
Okay.
Because Tia Nyawodia. And sometimes I hear people defend me. Even Sadiq. I've heard Sadiq's voice saying that I am not the main minister. I don't know why anytime the industry speaks or spoke, they leave the main ministers and then they come to me.
Because you are one of their own.
Don't you think because you're one of us? Yes,
okay. But if you know organizational structure,
okay.
If you have worked in an organization before, like you work here, I've worked here. I started with Mr. Chum years ago as a little boy. Decision making is executive. I work with the executive of the country, but in the hierarchy or span of control, chain of command, president, chief of staff, our lead council of state. Then it comes to the minister. Then it comes to the deputy minister. The deputy minister does not go to cabinet. It is the minister who goes to cabinet.
Okay.
So as a deputy minister, if you are lucky and you get your minister who believes in you and tells you that, I want you to do this. That's what you do. And the 1992 Constitution makes it clear that you go in there to support your minister. And that is why the minister, president consults the main minister before they choose you. A lot of people do not know this. It's in the Constitution, 1992. The minister is consulted before you are chosen as a deputy minister.
Okay.
So if the minister tells president that he doesn't want to work with you, you are likely not to get your job.
Okay.
So the deputy minister is the supporter of the minister.
All right.
But in all, not to say that we've not done anything. I've influenced my minister, Honorable Awao, to put together amphitheaters for this country.
We've not seen them yet.
Are you looking for them? You have to.
Part of the creative's job.
As
Honorable.
Communicate with
as a
us
media
proactively.
as a media practitioner
Yeah.
or worse, you look for the news. Don't you look for the news?
Oh, but Mark, you're talking
Oh,
about
I'm
look
asking.
for
Oh,
them.
why don't you? Wait,
Honorable,
You're
you do.
talking for
You do.
look for them. If they were
Appears we can't find
established, people will see them without having to go and look
Okay.
for them.
So let me go this way. So I have seen videos of the amphitheater in Accra under construction.
Yes,
Correct.
so
But
say
they are
so.
not done yet.
Yes.
So say so.
Yes. So he's seen them.
No.
It's in
Because we were
under
at a summit,
construction.
a minute, the one organized by Trigmatic, when you came around and you showed
Yeah.
the videos of the
So
amphitheater.
can you see? I even showed them.
If,
I go
if
for
I
programs
say,
and I
if
show
I
What
them.
say,
did you show them?
wait, if
You
I say we've
showed
not seen
them-
it, what I mean is that we've not seen a completed
Thank you.
amphitheater
Yes. Yes.
yet.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Yes. It's better than zero. We've taken steps. If you go to court
Yeah.
and you say somebody owes you, and you're able to establish that the person has started paying,
Yeah.
there's something called good faith. So the moment the judge sees that you've started paying, says, "Oh, you've shown good faith that you are paying," and so there's a degree of mitigation
Okay.
in case you have to be punished. They ask you to go back and go and continue to pay. Yes.
Okay.
And so we have shown good faith
Okay.
that we gave you promises that we're going to build theaters.
Yeah.
Originally, we said multi-purpose theaters.
Yeah.
Yes. So over time, when we noticed that the budgets that we were looking for were not coming, we said, okay, why don't we do amphitheaters instead?
Okay.
Because amphitheaters are also multi-purpose.
Okay.
Yes. And so we started. Kofi was asking if it's only one in Accra. There's one in Accra. There's one in Kumasi. One in Takrade. The Takrade theater, the very old one. You remember this old theater? I know that my boss is working on it. Very soon you'll see some action there too. The Creative Arts School in Kumasi
Yeah.
has a theater that will house 2,000 people plus an amphitheater. So Kumasi will end up getting 2 amphitheaters with one 2,000-seater theater.
Is that part of the 5 amphitheaters promised?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But the main theater is not an amphi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when are we looking to seeing a complete version of?
I want to be able to come here in the next few months and speak with some degree of
Honorable, we
confidence.
have about 4 or 5 months to elections.
No, it's less than 4.
Yeah.
Less than 4.
Yeah,
You know,
less
when
than
you
4.
are in power, you wish 4 years never comes. But when
Yeah.
you are in opposition, 4 years comes across as
Are
too
you
long.
confident we can complete all these things within this period?
Yes.
Very confident.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned amphitheater as one of the things that you influenced
Yes.
your boss to do. Yeah.
Yes.
So the
the
other ones.
creative art law,
Okay.
the creative art agency.
Okay.
Yes. Everything going well. Creative art agency recruitment. When I was entering, I heard somebody said board for creative art agency.
Yeah.
Somebody
Uncle
mentioned
Ken.
it when I was entering.
Yes.
Uncle Ken.
Yes.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
Yes.
This,
I said there was no board
yes.
Yeah.
yet
Yes, this
for
month,
the creative arts.
This month you see a lot of changes at the creative art agency.
Okay.
It should give birth to the creative art fund as well.
Okay.
One challenge that we have is that I remember when I was defending this, I will not mention where I was defending, but our candidates, Vice President to be Napo,
Okay.
I remember he was pushing that instead of getting a new fund, why don't we merge that with the GTA fund, tourism fund, so that they are all within one ministry. We get just one fund that will distribute that every unit gets some percentage.
NFA also has one coming.
Correct. There's a school of thought. I'm not a parliamentarian, but
Okay.
I'm learning fast. Yes.
You
That's-
wanted to be one.
Yes, I'm 21. I'm learning fast. You know, the NFA law, the act,
Yeah.
was made by the previous government.
Okay.
Technically, if you look at the creative art law and the NFA law, there is this clash in there.
Okay.
Because the creative art law looks at film as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So what was the need for two entities?
Entities.
Okay. The NFA only looked at just film.
Yes.
So what happened to the other unit of the act?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Correct. So there should be, my new boss is a lawyer. So there's a committee working on it now to make a presentation to cabinet.
Okay.
To see how the NFA, the Creative Arts
Consolidate
agency,
all of
how,
them.
yes, how we can fuse and make it one simple
It's
place.
essential.
Yes. Yes. And so it's because the previous government did the film one.
Yeah.
And then this government also did the one that is supposed to fix the rest. I think Attorney General should have done some job for us around that time, because I was not an expert. I'm still not an expert in that area.
Okay.
But they should have advised. And then Parliament too should have advised that, because you already have the NFA that looks at film, you either cancel film from the Creative Arts Agency or the NFA should come under this one. And then we have directorates or secretariats for film, for music, for fashion, for theatre, all under the Creative Arts Agency umbrella.
Thank you.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Okay. So, amphitheaters, Creative Arts Agency, the law, and
Fund.
the fund.
Yes.
Okay. And which other area did you influence him? Your boss. Before I give my honourable
When I
members
was
here
coming, the truth is that
the platform
this
to
was
also
not
ask
part
questions.
of. This was not part of the topics I was told to come in.
Once we hardly meet you like this on, on shows like this.
So when we get you,
at least
we have to grill you.
Because I went to Sopon. The truth is that I wasn't invited though.
Yeah.
I just saw the flyer somewhere.
Yeah.
And you
And I
decided
called.
to drive here.
No, I called Philip.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I
When?
said that
Today?
Today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am coming from
Cape Coast.
Not Cape Coast. It's actually Mankasim.
Okay.
Honorable Ophelia Hayford.
Okay.
She lost her mom, the MP for and a
Oh,
candidate
okay.
for Sopon.
Okay.
Fantiman, yes. So on my way, I saw the flyer and I called Philip. And then Philip said, he wouldn't mind if I could come. Luckily, I met my boss, Asabi,
All right.
in Mankasim,
All right.
who had motorbike that could clear us
Oh,
to
wow.
this place. And that's why I'm back.
Wow.
This fast,
This
yes.
fast. Okay.
I was surprised to see you.
Great.
So there's no preparation for some of the things you're asking for.
Okay.
Yeah, so but bring me another time.
Okay, so let me allow my panel members to come in with their questions or submissions before we go for a break. Then we come back to wrap up. But Uncle Ken, let me come to you. Yes.
You know,
Uncle Ken, I'm here. Please, respectfully. I'm one of you.
you know, I was not expecting to see Mark because he was not part of the publication about the people attending today's show. But one person I had wanted to be on this show today is none other than Sadiq.
Oh, okay.
Simply because this conversation has been happening so many times on this show.
Yeah.
And Baba, he sent me a message. He said he was on his way from Ho after attending a funeral or something too. And he was listening to us and was enjoying the conversation. So I sent him back and I said, Baba, you should have been in the studio today. Because we have discussed these matters over and over again. Baba is of the opinion that if you get into government, as Mark did, like he said, as deputy minister, you don't have too much of a say in what happens in your ministry because you need to depend on what your boss asks you to do, which is true. You know, I just think that if we could be united in what we want and present what we want as a united front, we would achieve a lot more.
Okay.
But what happens? I've already said it. We always debating each other, challenging each other, saying this. Look, I remember when Rex sat here. Rex Omar sat here. In a conversation we had not too long ago. Kwame, if you remember. And I praised him for coming out in the open to show his allegiance towards a particular party, which is the NDC. David Osei, is that his name?
Prince
David Osei.
Prince David Osei was also here. And I also praised him for always coming out, for also coming out to show his preference for a particular political party. The problem arises if Rex is at Gamro and Rex is fighting for Gamro to get equipment to be able to tabulate artists' works being played on various radio stations and television stations, and people are putting stokes in his way, because he's not of their political orientation.
Did Rex say that to you?
No, I'm saying that it's happened.
No, it never happened.
No.
Uncle Ken, is that by inference or that's a matter of
Wait,
fact?
Rex sat here and said that he's had issues
Okay.
in trying to do certain things
Okay.
because he's not of a certain political orientation. And the board have people of various political inclinations. And that is why I said that this is the bane of the creative arts making progress, where they want certain things to be done for them. And that is why I brought in the Medical Association and the GPRTU. If GPRTU wants to increase fares because of conditions in the country, what do they do?
Uncle Ken, let me tell you something that happened not too long ago. Kwame, you were present, EB as well. As part of what they're putting in their manifesto for 2024.
Please,
I'm talking about the NDC, obviously.
All right.
What President Mahama decided to do was not to...
Sorry, excuse me. Did you say they? I thought we agreed that you're bona fide. So we.
What happened was, people from the creative space, from different walks of life, from the creative space were invited to, express, let the government know, the incoming government know what the challenges are, what you'd want put in place before they get into office.
Yeah.
And these are some of the things that were addressed. So it's like Uncle Ken was saying, very often you get a united front from maybe the Ghana Medical Association because they want certain things done. It's being done in a subtle way in the creative space as well. So,
Okay, it's being done.
Yes, it's being done.
But in a subtle way.
Yeah.
And
But it starts from somewhere.
Yes, but Kofi, if he gets out and the opposition sees it as partisan,
Uncle Ken, I am often
then
not,
that's where
Uncle
the
Ken,
challenge comes in.
Respectfully, I'm often not someone who interjects. You know me on...
You can interject.
Okay.
No problem.
But I think Rex Umar, if he really said that to you, then he's misled you.
No.
Okay, wait.
What did I say he said?
That the technology that they were looking for, because some people were on the board or he didn't get enough support because his party is not in power or something.
I think you were here one of the days when Rex was there.
No.
Kwame,
No.
was that on this platform?
Yes.
I remember we hosted Rex here.
Yes.
But that particular thing, I think we need to get a tape to get exactly what he said about that.
No.
And
2020.
to be sure about that, yeah.
2020, George Quay
Yeah.
hosted us on Joy News.
Yeah.
And this thing came up. Another
On Joy News?
Yes,
Or
TV.
here? Oh, TV?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, TV. A few weeks or months to elections.
Yeah.
And this thing came up. And I remember, I said this on the show, that Rex, I introduced one group to you.
Right.
In the name of, they have
You
this
mentioned-
technology. Yes. To the extent that I'm not even told that, Rex, is it because Mark is not from your people? When he invited you to come for the thing, you were dragging your feet towards.
Exactly. But
Correct.
this is what I wanted
Again, when we came to power 2021, when Honorable Awa took office, the first step that we took was to get a document from Gamro to help them get the technology. Because Honorable Awa had gone to Parliament as part of his vetting to promise. You can ask Rex Umar what we went through. Not what he went through, what we went
you
through,
went through. From
as a
whom?
ministry.
From whom?
Gamro. I'm not sure it's from Rex himself, but from the establishment as Gamro.
Okay.
I have Rex Umar's document on my table now.
So, Mark, my issue
a few months
is,
ago to a Japan Mesa,
Okay.
Honorable, again with the same technology matter. So if you say that,
No, but Mark, you've actually agreed with me because the point I was trying to make was nobody accepted the others. Yes, to go ahead and go for that particular equipment. And as we speak today, that equipment has not been acquired.
but
to move
If
the
you're not
industry
forthcoming
forward.
with information,
Yes.
Honorable Awao, how does he buy the technology for you?
Not
No,
necessarily.
he's saying not necessarily from you, but from them. They can't even agree. There's no concerted,
Exactly.
you know, action that
this is
you
a-
can even act on.
Okay, this is a gamble
From
matter.
them.
Yes.
Yes,
that's
yes,
what
yes.
he's saying.
Oh, this matter, please don't open this
I
bucket.
think,
oh.
I think,
Okay.
Kwame,
But,
pardon me, I think,
okay.
since
Uncle
we
Ken,
don't
please-
have Rex himself
Uncle Ken,
here to respond
please-
to some of these things.
Yes, Uncle Ken, please.
No, Kofi, all I'm saying
Bring
is,
me a Rex.
Uncle Ken, please, are you done with your submission?
I have some stuff to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Can
all
lean.
I am saying
Good.
is, as we speak today,
Yeah.
the so-called equipment needed
Okay.
to help musicians
Okay.
make their monies from the music use
Okay.
by various radio stations and TV stations and whoever is not available.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the point I'm trying to make. And why hasn't it been available
Great.
after so many years?
Great. So I think Honorable is here, and if he has any answer to that. But before that, let me come to Abby. Abby, do you have any question or any submission? on-
Thank you, Kofi. First of all, I'd like to challenge you to another forum for
Like
so
this.
that we can, yeah,
We-
so we
we'll be
can
doing a lot of
actually
them,
discuss
yeah.
policies.
Exactly.
But before we get there, I'd want to throw a challenge to those in our space, the creatives, not to only be consumed with issues within our industry. There's so many of us, and if we are asking us to take up leadership generally,
Okay.
it's in various sectors beyond just the creative space. I'm a development communicator, for example. So that is quite in line with, I'm also a diplomat. So the people of Tema Central are not necessarily looking for an MP that will represent, because we have a lot of artists
Okay.
and we're very creative people in that space. You know,
Great.
Tema, Yaji Eding.
Great.
I mean, as much as we've slowed down, it's
Yeah.
just a matter of leadership. That is our forte. But there are other issues beyond that. And I'm looking forward to people from our, our extraction
Okay.
taking up leadership in other sectors,
All right.
in business. And I used the example earlier on about the fact that the most important virtue for a businessman is creativity. So I think that we should explore other ground. And I want to use this opportunity to thank the people of Tema Central,
All right.
Community 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, heavy industrial area, light industrial area. Because as Uncle said, I did lose a lot of friends because of my decision to be in politics.
Wow.
Not necessarily because of the NDC affiliation, but because they still can't understand or accept that I am a politician. Our idea, I would say our, because I used to be like that also, of the politician was of people that are inherently corrupt, that are looking to take advantage of something or someone, of people that are not honest and that are not true service oriented.
Great.
I've had my father since 2015 almost disown me until a few days ago when he registered for the first time as a voter at 80 years old. Now, I don't know, I mean, I have more than his blessing because he's registered to vote for me. And this is a whole defining moment, but it's taking me a lot of patience. And so I'll say, yes, not only courage that has kept me in there. I've described myself as being foolhardy, but sometimes you also need to know if you're taking the long road, you're taking the easy road or not. And if you're determined to marry principles with it, it might not be easy,
Okay.
it might not be fast, and that is what I've learned along the way. I'm happy that I've stayed true to it. I'm hoping that friends and family will finally accept
Good.
that this is what I'm committed to and help me become a better servant as opposed to fighting the choice that I've made. So once again, shout outs to all my constituents in Tema Central
Wonderful.
and to my party for giving me this opportunity.
Good one
Thank you.
there, Abby Bright. Thanks so much for the submission. Now, Chief Mumin, any question for Honorable? Any submission you want to make?
Submission, not necessarily a question. I mean, because as you said, there has to be a proper opportunity if you want to question Honorable on the government's work in the creative industry, right? So we don't want to belabor the point here. I would say that politics is a contest internally and externally. So externally, you are contesting against other political parties, but also internally, you're actually contesting against different interest groups, especially when you're also in governance, and especially in a country like this where the national cake is not enough to go around. So all industries are fighting for a chunk or a piece of that cake. I mean, it's very often that government will make allocations in the budget, but never really appropriate, never really sends the money to the ministries, right? So you would find that, yes, government has given X amount of money to the Ministry of Creative Art and Tourism to do this, but has the money really come? So usually it's also about how ministers are able to lobby internally, how we're able to go to the finance ministry and say, Charlie, make you release some of the money, make it come, make we do those kinds of things, and which is actually sometimes, the most important relationships that you need, the relationships that you need in cabinet. Absolutely. Because when you propose an idea, how are other ministers supporting you, in presenting that idea? So the idea of having people in governance who are able to champion the cause of the creative industry is very important. But those people may not necessarily not have to even be in the creative art ministry. I mean, for example, imagine if you had a finance minister, right, who had some background in creativity. And we know that when it comes to the creative art industry, you can really be anything and still be a creative. You can be a doctor and be a creative. You can be an economist and be a creative. And there are different facets of the creative industry. It's not just the celebrities like Ebby, sorry,
I was
rehearsing in my mind not to make that mistake. Yes, Miss Bright. Let me just take it on Miss Bright. But I can say Miss Bright, right?
Very soon to be Dr. Bright. Miss
Okay.
Bright is
Just say Abby Bright.
Okay.
I'm competing with her.
Yes, so as I was saying, not just people who are, in front of our screens every day, but if we have a very expansive view of the creative community, then you can know that people can come from different spheres. So for me, what is important is that how as a nation, and that's the work that we've been doing, for people to understand the importance of this industry. So that if there are even ministers of state or even the presidency, because it starts from the presidency sets the agenda. And over the years, we've been trying to lobby for the creative industry, to get a lot of attention. And I've been very excited to see the progress since President Mahamat gave that 2 million Ghana cedis to the creative industry. There's been a much more, greater effort in bringing the concerns of the creative industry, to the fore. So now when there's a State of a Nation address, when there's a budget, there's some honorary mention of the creative industry and all of that. All of that activism is important to put this industry front of mind. Because if we understand that the industry has the key to unlock, the economic fortunes of our country, to create more opportunities, it's about how we are all collectively lobbying what the media is doing in projecting, the industry, what ministers who are already consumed, in the space are doing within cabinet, who is speaking for us when the issues come up. I mean, Honorable Mark is not in cabinet, but I wonder when the creative art ministry issues come up, when the creative sector issues come up, how do other cabinet ministers respond? What is their attitude when they are discussing? Do they discuss it with the level of urgency and seriousness that you deserve? That is where you need people who are really oriented about the importance of this role. Let me just also end by saying that I have had first-hand experience how sort of moribund, if I may use that word. Uncle Ken, maybe he may break it down for us. No, I'm not the one. Oh, I'm not sure, but hopefully soon enough. Soon enough. Yes, I've had first-hand, experience how a deputy minister does not wield so much power. I remember when I started my project, Heritage Theatre Series, but back then that was with JK days. Auntie Jifa Tiva was deputy minister, and obviously because of our familiarity, we used to go to her to seek her support. She was so much in love with what we were doing. She did all the best she could to support our project, but on an individual basis, at least within her power. But she didn't have the power to wield the ministry, to our empire, even though we're not necessarily looking for anything from the ministry, but at least one of the things that you can doff your hat out to her is her presence. She would make sure that at least, if for nothing at all, she would give you her attention and her presence when it's needed, right? But she used to say that if she had more power, she wished she could do more, right? So we would also hope that whether in this next administration, especially, we would be able to give the power. Right now, we're still waiting to see what happens if the ultimate power is given to someone who comes from the sector actively. So far, we haven't seen that yet. I stand to be corrected. So far, we haven't had a substantive minister who has come directly from the industry. We've seen the likes of the deputies, Auntie Jifa, and now Mark. I think it's becoming a trend. Now we want to see what happens if we have direct power being given.
And then in Boateng.
Okay,
okay,
great.
also
Yes,
for the
yes,
creative
yes.
industry.
And that comes down directly to the point that Mark made, and I would connect it to Ibe's point that we also need more creatives who are confident enough to show their faces, because really the game of politics, if you don't identify with the political parties, if you don't go down in the trenches with them, sometimes when they win power, there's no incentive to elevate you to a position of influence. So now that we are seeing more and more people, the likes of Baba Sadiq, actively engaging, we hope that more governments coming would give greater power to people within the industry, and let's see how they can also make
before
impact.
I go for my break, thank you very much, Chief
before
Mumin.
that break, so
yes, so please KOD.
There's an element that's
quickly, let me go
that's
for
a
a break.
bit missing.
Yes,
we
please.
keep saying that the deputy minister, especially in our area, in the creative space, doesn't have a say. But over the years, one of the reasons we've motivated or encouraged people to go there is so that the ministers are actually abreast of what really happens in the creative space. Because then essentially what we're saying is that they're just there, meaning that portfolio is even unnecessary. And I totally disagree. When Mark, there were a few names that were coming up, and most of us really supported Mark Okreko-Manteh because he's been in the trenches in the creative space. We know his understanding of what happens here. So then it means
Kwame has settled that debate for us.
It's okay.
You're not in charge.
No. Then it means that
it's
position
an important role. But
let's also acknowledge
you don't drive the decision making.
But let's also acknowledge that he mentioned how he influenced certain things to be done. So let's acknowledge
but we're
that
also
as well.
hoping that we get substantive ministers who actually have that kind of experience.
Exactly.
And let's see if there are going to be any difference.
Thank you, Chief Obi. So we go for a break and then we come back to conclude. But Obi, you before,
Yeah, so I think I want to go with the conversation of Uncle Ken, where we need to have a very unified conversation as creatives.
Okay.
So that when we have the representation there, they do the job for us.
Okay.
It's not about UK, it's not about me, it's about the creative industry.
Awesome.
How are we going to develop it when we have a representation in there? That is very important, so that we grow beyond the banter and the arguments and the colors. So I think I stand with that conversation.
Okay, thank you so much, Obi Nate, and also to you, Chief Mumin, KOD, Uncle Ken, Abby Bright, Honorable Mark Okreko-Manteh. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, we see you specking your car, taking that trip, chilling on the beach. Charlie, now we want to see this become your story. Simply use your ABSA card 10 times or more, and you'll be entered into a monthly draw where you stand the chance to be among 5 lucky winners to take home 40,000 Ghana cedis. The more you use your card, the more entries you'll receive. Earn an extra entry by using the ABSA app or internet banking 5 times or more. No ABSA card? Don't worry. Visit the nearest branch for an ABSA account or card today and make winning part of your story. Promotion is between 1st July and 31st October. This promotion is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. Your story matters. ABSA.
The much-awaited Street Art Carnival of the Year is here again. Chalewati Street Art Festival 2024.
Theme, and now an end to the empire of horrors.
Come experience a display of varied artistic representations of African culture, history, storytelling, dance, and music.
From Monday, August 19th to Sunday, August 25th.
Media partners: Joy Prime,
Joy FM,
Hits FM, My Joy Online,
Adum FM,
Adum TV,
and all multimedia affiliates across the country and beyond.
Chalewati Street Art Festival 2024 is powered by Joy Entertainment.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home. Shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is. Where the passion is. Where the laughter is. And sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions.
And send tweets.
Where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
Gripping conversations, business opportunities, and inspiring life stories. In the engine room, we have it all. Tune in to Springboard, your virtual university with Reverend Albert Okran, this Sunday at 7 p.m. on Joy 99.7 FM, Facebook, and YouTube. Catch the repeat telecast on Joy Prime every Saturday at 9 a.m. Sponsors: Enterprise Group, MTN Pulse, UMB Bank, and Central University. Media partners: Joy FM, Joy Prime, and Graphic Business. Springboard. Your personal value will shoot up.
Here's where we turn around. Here's where we turn around.
Water is life. Sanitation is dignity. Climate change threatens both. Join Joy News, Water Aid, and the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Sanitation and Water Project as we host a national dialogue on climate resilient, safe, and sustainable wash services delivery. Hear from political leaders on their plans to prioritize wash in our national agenda. Be a part of the dialogue and let's chart a path towards prioritizing wash in our national development agenda as we approach election 2024. Together, let's ensure a sustainable and resilient future for all. The date, 13th of August 2024. The time, 4 p.m. Venue, Nat Hall in Accra. It will be live on Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News, and around the world on myjoyonline.com, as well as our social media platforms. Join us. Be the change. Wash Dialogue 2024.
Dearly beloved, one stand by for the following bombshell. The Omanhin of Ogwa traditional area, Osaberema Dr. Kwesata II, Ogwa Omanhima Nana Ikua Abochi VI, and the Ogwa Traditional Council was a delight and pride to invite Amanfunyinara to the 60th Ogwa Fetu Afashe Festival. Nyaminchaze, the landmark celebration coincide with the 25th anniversary of Osaberema coronation. Inti Wakaya double celebration. Nanchawara Yahweh de Fetu Afasheti, or you're not just the biggest festival in Ghana, or Sanso was the second biggest carnival in the world. Onuntina, the whole world redescend upon Cape Coast for an action-packed, exciting, Niger-centric 8-day celebration from the 1st Kepim the 8th of September 2024. Madofo just to highlights. Theme near celebrating the city of first, our people, our future. Special guest of honor here, Otumfo Osei Tutu II. Invited guests Nsudze Bibri, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, former President John Dramani Mahama, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, just to mention a Kura. Now events is the main start to a himfa. Homecoming Carnival, Akom Night, Bakatay Regatta, Food Fair, Youth Colloquium, Orange Friday, Ghana Music Festival, and Sana Traditional Day Banankasa. Yabosya Himfu na ya celebrating and 7 spectacular Asafo companies through the streets of Gwei. Information in area available online. Inti Kanaka Shishe, Ogwa Fetu Afashe, or social media. Now following for info and updates. Aye. Munya, them menu of merrymaking, them buffet of bashment, them cornucopia of cultural conviviality is it. May allow ma on happen without you at it. May yenshia wa Cape Coast, the city of first, for the 60th Ogwa Fetu Afashe Eye. Now this year the hashtag Afashe Go B.
Joy 99.7 FM, Showbiz A to Z, and we've been talking about the impact creatives have in partisan politics. We've had in the studio Chief Momen Mark Okrekumanti, who is Deputy Minister of Tourism, Art and Culture. Uncle Ken is right here, KOD. Abby Bright and Obi Nate. But looking for a smarter and a more convenient way to stay connected? Then it's time to live seamlessly with MTN eSIM. Now, you don't have to carry multiple phones around because with MTN eSIM, you can have multiple numbers linked to just one smartphone. Yeah. Just dial *#06# to check your phone's eligibility. Download my MTN app or just go to my MTN website to request for your eSIM. You can also go to service centers nationwide to get easy hands-on assistance. So go seamless with MTN eSIM for convenience and seamless connectivity. Adansi Travels is thrilled to present an exclusive group travel package to the breathtaking city of Cape Town, South Africa, from the 22nd to the 29th of August. Just $1,700. Experience the beauty of Cape Town like never before. Your journey will begin with a return flight ticket from Accra, landing you in the heart of one of the world's most stunning cities for 6 nights. Indulge in luxury hotel accommodation, waking up each morning to breathtaking views of the city. So you just wander through the lush and scenic wineland, tasting some of the finest wines South Africa has to offer. Experience the panoramic view atop the old iconic Table Mountain, not forgetting the guided tour of the historic Robben Island and many more exciting attractions. Time no day. So don't let this opportunity slip away. Secure your spot now and enjoy an unforgettable adventure with your friends and family. Just call 053-100-8550 or 059-550-0817 to book your seat. September, all roads lead to Cape Coast for 60th Ogwa Fitwa Fashe from 1st to 8th September. Come and experience an explosion of culture at Ghana's biggest festival. It's going to be 8 days of historic memory-making events like Akom Nights and Nights of Reverence at Cape Coast Castle, Bakatue Regatta, Royal Dinner with Otumfuo Osetu II and the guest, he's a guest of honor actually, and then Orange Friday. And the big climax is the Grand Deba on Saturday, 7th September. So just come around. If you want to be part of a fashion in the park, just call 059-6050-600. But tomorrow is a Sunday, and we'll be listening to Pentecost Hour on Joy 99.7 FM at 1:30 p.m. Please tune in and get inspired. Now let me come in here and let's wrap up the conversation. We've been talking about the role, the impact of creatives in partisan politics. And right here with me, we have Chief Mumin, Obi Nate, KOD, Uncle Ken, Abby Bright, and Honorable Minister of Tourism, Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okreko Manton. Now let me start with you, Uncle Ken. Everybody is doing 1 minute each. Uncle Ken, Uncle Ken, please, your question, and then yes, please.
For the Deputy Minister. Deputy Minister, before you became Deputy Minister, you were with the Creative Arts Council. Were you not?
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
And it was through your efforts that the Creative Arts Act came into being.
Yeah.
And then you left. So I'm asking, I have heard a lot of people making so much noise about the fact that the current leadership of the Creative Arts is unconstitutional. And therefore, those people, let me not use unconstitutional, and that have not gone by the tenets of the act to employ those people. And so therefore, they're not supposed to be there.
Great.
What do you have to say about that?
Okay, so this is what I want to do. Please note the question that they will be asking so that you do that as a wrap up for us to close the show. And Abby, please, your final remarks before we go.
Well, what I find most challenging in this space right now, and I'm hoping we'll have an opportunity to talk before, one of the things I find most challenging is that there's a lack of decentralization when we talk about culture, arts, tourism. Okay. The emphasis, and all the attention appears to be on Accra and the city centers. Even in terms of festivals, I think that we're obsessed with a couple of them. But Ghana could benefit a lot from exploring its diversity.
Great.
There are a lot of issues that we're failing to communicate properly in terms of our positioning. We're not expressing a solid national brand. I think that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had already let something out of the bag about us adopting the Black Star experience as our flagship expression of Ghanaian identity. There are also many low-hanging fruits. But also another thing that worries us is the concentration of all our activity and revenue on specific times of the year.
Right.
Tourism needs to be a lifestyle. It needs to be responsive to the Ghanaian almost as much as it needs to be responsive to visitors. Because if the average Ghanaian cannot enjoy, the pleasures that the country has to offer in terms of its tourism, then I don't think that we can advocate properly, to get other people interested. And I think that the way that we engage the space right now leaves out a lot of its components, like the food, the fashion, the human resource, the language, and so many aspects. And I think that we should challenge them to move beyond the December influx. And I think that that's a bit too much of external packaging. And the staging, it needs to be more authentic. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby Bright. Obi Nate, quickly, your final words before we go.
I think that for today, if we're supposed to sell something out as creatives, is that we need to have a very united conversation. And have our interest, so that when the representatives are there, they speak for us. Let me just say this: that let's focus on the industry as people. Let's build capacity as creatives as well. Not just talking, but let's build capacity beyond, so that when we're speaking, it will carry a lot of weight. Encourage decent conversations, because now we're talking about people attacking others. But if we start, we lead by example, I think that the narrative will change as well. Especially to also tell the people of Adenta that for the first time they're going to have a female to be their MP, and that's Akusha Menu Asa.
Thank you very much, KOD. Yes, sir.
It's a very interesting time in our country's history, in our democracy. About 30 years of the Fourth Republic. As a people, we've seen it all. The creative space only needs to get better. We ought to get better, go beyond where we are as a group of people. We've seen what happened in the past. I mean, I have quite a tall list of things I was going to talk about. But
we will do another edition of this. We are doing this till December, so
yeah.
We'll
but
be back.
As a foreshadow ahead of December, it's a great time for us as a country. Go out there on the 7th of December. Make sure that we have a man who started it all, John Dramani Mahama, to come back to finish what he started come the 7th of December.
Thank you, KOD. Chief Moment, please 1 minute, I beg. Chief, you know why I mentioned 1 minute? I know you. I beg 1 minute.
But today I'm here to listen. Today I'm here to listen.
1 minute so that Honorable wraps up for us.
You actually have a poem from what we called It Is Possible. I've been doing it for so long now. I don't know whether to do it again.
Okay, Chief, let's hear it.
I mean, today we have a lot of heavy hitters in the house, right? And I think we haven't had a lot of time to really listen to all of them. KOD, the Honorable Mr. and Ebi.
We will be back.
Please spread them out. Uncle Ken and I can always hold the fort, but spread them out and let's really interrogate, get into the meat of the matter. But I mean, obviously it's for the good of the art, and it's good that we're having this conversation. I wish I'm confused myself now. Miss Bright, the best in her endeavor. Unfortunately, I vote in Adenta, so maybe you can convince me why to give my vote.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. That's yes. Thank you very much. I'll be here till September. So
okay. So I'm now to the Deputy Tourism Minister, Tourism, Art and Culture Minister, Honorable Mark Okreku Mante. He is answering Uncle Ken's question and then finally take us home.
And my challenge.
Please, you have more than 1 minute.
My challenge as well.
Yes. Please, you have 3 minutes, please. Okay. Yes, please.
Yes. I acted as the president of Creative Art Agency Council at the time.
Yeah.
Same as the team now. They are all acting.
They are all acting.
Yes.
Is it still a council or an agency?
And it's now an agency, hoping to make it an authority in future. Yes. And so they are acting. So those who are saying that what the people we find there are not legal because they are not backed by law. Yes, recruitment will happen this month. Then they'll be backed by law so that it will become legal. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so that's to the next question. Yeah. And then Ebi Bright also asked a question.
A challenge.
A challenge.
Which one is that? Social media?
No.
Okay, I didn't hear.
Uncle Mark.
Yes, I didn't hear.
I said that there wasn't enough decentralization in the way that we're, addressing.
Okay, but that wasn't the question to him,
sector.
though.
No, it was a challenge.
A challenge.
So I
Okay.
wanted him to tell us something.
Okay.
But I mean, he's got 3 months. I mean, what can he do?
No, so
to
she was talking about the
encourage
fact
us?
that it appears the December in GH is basically the focus of.
That's one thing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she wishes that it is spread throughout the whole year.
Yeah, I mean, how is it like? for
Okay.
the rest of the country?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's why I say. he's
So
got 3 months.
it's a December in GH. It's a product. It's an offshoot of year of return beyond the return, and so we are now developing new products because that one is for like the last quarter of the year. So we are now developing new products for first, second, and third quarter. Even in December in GH and all the year of return, I'm sure in the beginning a lot of people didn't even believe in them. So we are now seeing that if we develop products, we can sell and do our targets very well. And that is why it looks like for now it's only December in GH. In the subsequent years, if you give us the nod in December, we have done it. We are the ones who can do it.
Sorry, there was a part 2. The
Yes.
part 2 was.
I wish we bring.
tourism
No,
for
I
us.
wish we bring Minister back some other time to have an extensive conversation, like 2-hour conversation with him. Your Honourable. So yeah. Now
Yes.
to your submission. Your
My
conclusion.
submission, yes.
Yeah.
This one I suspect is Honorable George Anda. It says, "Good evening, Honorable. Kindly correct KOD on the Dumso. John Mahama did not solve Dumso. In fact,
please, I think if we should. Go,
I said I am suspecting.
Honorable, yes.
That because the person didn't write his name.
Yeah.
I don't have the phone number to.
Honorable,
I said I am suspecting.
I wish we can do this another time. This particular Dumso thing. Yeah.
So last
before we.
Let me finish.
Before I get a query, please.
The whole world.
Yes.
The whole world at the moment, the commonest challenge with the whole world now is economic.
Okay.
President Kufuor is a lawyer. President Mahama, communicator.
Yeah.
President Atamils, lawyer or tax man. Now is the time for the economist. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia.
All right.
We need an economist now to fix the economic challenges.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mark Okrekumante, Deputy Minister of Tourism, Art and Culture, to you, KOD, Kofi Ochudako, creative entrepreneur, to Chief Moment, who is a playwright and a poet, to LB Nati, broadcaster, Uncle Ken has been here as well, and then Ebby Bright, NDC parliamentary candidate for Tema Central Constituency. My name is Kwame Dadzie, show brought to you by MTN everywhere you go, and then a superstar multi-food drink. My name is Kwame Dadzie once again, show produced by Philip Nye, Anita Tay, Olivier Fagnan. We're back same time next week.